My wife wanted to leave because I was a broke house husband. But I kept my identity a secret as I was the heir to the richest family in the state.
I wash my wife's dirty lingerie. I pick up after her family eats. Why do I tolerate this humiliation despite being the richest man in the city? Kevin said to the man on the phone. Just then, he was interrupted by a cold voice screaming at him from down the hallway. Kevin, where are you? You said you would help me. I'll be right there, Kevin replied. Looking at his cell phone, Kevin dropped his voice. I have to go. An eager voice responded. Why don't you tell her that you are a billionaire? I can't. I want to keep this a secret for now. Understood. With a forced grin, Kevin hung up the phone and adjusted his clothing as he walked down the hallway to the kitchen. Standing in front of the sink, Kevin saw his mother-in-law, Dorothy, washing her hands with a nasty look on her face.
Hearing Kevin, Dorothy turned around and barked. So glad that you could finally make it. These dishes aren't going to wash themselves. Kevin forced a smile. Sorry. I spilled on my shirt while I was doing the dishes earlier, so I quickly went to the room to change. I fully intended to come back and finish them. Dorothy sarcastically replied, Oh, whoa, thank you. That would be so very helpful. I mean, you've only been staying as a guest in our home for the past 2 years, but really, doing the dishes more than makes up for that. Kevin bit his tongue as he thought to himself, I pay rent to live here. Plus, I do a lot more than the dishes. I've become my mother-in-law's very own handyman. I mean, I have literally renovated their entire house these past few years. But I could never tell them the truth because it would upset Lily, and I'm already on thin ice with her. The last thing that our relationship needs is for her parents to hate me even more than they already do. Silencing his thoughts, Kevin turned to his mother-in-law. Yes, of course. You've been so generous to me and Lily. The very least I can do is the dishes. I'll finish them right now. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do. You could make some money. You know, our Lily could have married anyone, but for whatever reason, she chose you. Remembering his recent phone call, Kevin nodded. I am going to work to prove my love for her. I promise you, one day, I will be worthy of Lily. Dorothy dried her hands and cackled. I highly doubt that. The only reason why we haven't pushed Lily to divorce you is because she was stupid enough not to get a prenup. She is the chairman of a huge corporation. I don't want you taking half of her money. Kevin paused. I would never do that. Dorothy, I love your daughter. I know that it may not seem like it to you now, but I promise you that I'm going to do right by her. Dorothy's face softened. My husband would kill me for saying this, but I really hope that you do. Thank you. Kevin nodded as he stepped around Dorothy and went to the sink. With a smile, Kevin picked up a dirty plate and continued. Now, I've got some dishes to wash. 15 minutes later, Kevin started the dishwasher and looked at his watch. It's after 5. Lily should be home by now. Walking down the hallway, Kevin heard the sound of the TV coming from the living room. Taking a deep breath, Kevin adjusted his shirt and entered the living room. Welcome home, babe. Kevin grinned at his wife, Lily. Sitting on the couch in front of him, Lily lifted her hand and politely waved. Staring at Lily's bright eyes and luscious lips, Kevin thought to himself, I still get butterflies every time that I look at her. Lily's beauty is undeniable, but that's not why I love her. She is the most driven woman I have ever met. I mean, in the past few years alone, Lily has worked her way up from assistant to chairman at her company in record time. She's incredible. Hey, Kevin. A woman who could only be described as basic chimed. Kevin nodded to his wife's best friend. Hi, Rachel. It's good to see you. Sitting next to Lily on the couch, Rachel smirked. Nice shirt. Looking down, Kevin noticed that he had spilled on his shirt again. Feeling his cheeks blush, Kevin replied, I was doing the dishes. That's so cute. At my house, we just pay someone to do that for us. Rachel cattily responded. Lily turned to Rachel. Well, not everyone can be born into wealth like you were. Some of us have to work for it. Looking at Kevin, Lily continued, and some of us have to try even harder. But when the hard work pays off, it will all be worth it. Lily secretly winked at Kevin. Kevin winked back as he thought to himself, I feel so guilty about hiding my past from her. Maybe she would understand if I just explained it to her, but at this point, it might be too late. I mean, we've been married for years now, and Lily still has no idea that I was born into one of the wealthiest families in Chicago. I hid it from her because I didn't want her to marry me because of my money. But then, as luck would have it, I literally lost everything the day that we got engaged. Closing his eyes, Kevin took a deep breath as he remembered. I'll never forget that day. I called my grandpa to tell him the good news, but he interrupted me and instead scolded me for investing my entire trust fund into Orion Corporation stocks, which unexpectedly dropped. I will never forget how my grandpa told me, I'm kicking you out of the family. It's for your own good. You need to learn the value of money. And now, years later, that Orion investment has generated more money than my entire family could ever dream of. I'm the richest man in Chicago. But how do I tell my wife the truth? She still thinks that I'm just some unemployed schmuck. I need to show her that she can trust me before I reveal my secret. Lily stood up from the couch and came over and softly kissed Kevin on the cheek. Kevin, no offense, but Rachel's right. You look like a complete mess right now. Maybe you should go freshen up. Turning back to look at Rachel sitting on the couch, Lily continued, especially since we have a guest over. Kevin nodded. Of course, I'll go change right now. After changing his shirt for the second time that night, Kevin walked towards the living room, but stopped when he heard Rachel whispering to Lily. I don't know how you do it. You're this badass boss bitch, and he's honestly kind of pathetic. He feels like the before picture in a commercial. Why do you stay with him? After a long pause, Lily whispered back. He wasn't always like this. When we first met, he was charming and confident. I don't know what happened to him, but I keep thinking that if I stay with him long enough, maybe he'll find himself again, because I really love the man who he used to be. Do you love him now? Lily bit her bottom lip. I don't know. I'd be lying if I didn't admit that sometimes I just feel like a caretaker in our relationship. He's so closed off these days. It feels like the romance is completely gone. And I know that if I were to ever talk to him about it directly, I would lose him even more. I love him, but I don't know if I'm in love with him anymore. Rachel nodded. You could have any man. You're stunning, kind, and killing it at your job. Have you thought about getting a divorce? You shouldn't stay with someone because you pity them. I don't pity him. I just wish that he could be the man who he used to be. Honestly, I don't want to talk about this right now. I spend my entire day putting out fires at work. The last thing in the world that I want to do is put them out at home. Rachel paused. Of course, that makes sense. But what's going on at work? You seem more stressed than usual. Lily sighed. My company received a new contract last month and there was an error in the calculation of the data. Our products did not meet the requirements, so we need to compensate them with $7 million. My company's funds are not going to be able to turn around, which means that I need to get at least $4 million of investment in a week. Otherwise, my company will most likely go bankrupt. I can't do that to my employees. Rachel's eyes widened. How are you supposed to find someone willing to invest $4 million in less than a week? Just then, Lily turned around and saw Kevin standing in the hallway. With a tear falling down her soft cheek, Lily whispered, Kevin, I'm sorry to say this, but Rachel and I need some privacy. Can you please give me some space? Feeling distraught over his wife's pain, Kevin slowly nodded. Of course. I'll go back to the bedroom. It was good to see you, Rachel. Rushing back to his room, Kevin promised himself, I have to help her. I will prove to Lily that I am the man who she married, not the shell of a human being who I've been these past 2 years. I'm going to create my own empire. Taking out his cell phone, Kevin gasped when he saw that he had over 10 missed calls from his grandfather's estate. Looking at the screen, Kevin asked himself, why did my grandpa call me so many times? He hasn't called me in over 2 years. The last time we spoke, he kicked me out of the family. I wonder if he knows about the money." Kevin saw his grandpa's name flash on his screen. Taking a deep breath, he read the message. "Kevin, I was wrong about you. Your family needs you. I know all about your recent success with Orion Corporation, and we need that money in order to save the family line. If you don't help us, the Williams family will collapse completely." Kevin looked at the message in a daze. Just 2 years ago, his family had kicked him out because of his investment in Orion Corporation. They had left him with nothing, just days before his wedding. And now, because of the same investment, his grandpa was asking him to help the Williams family. "This feels like a sick joke," Kevin sighed. As he was thinking, his phone vibrated again with a message from the same number. "Kevin, we've lost everything. After a few bad investments, we're going bankrupt. Please, save us with your new money. If you do, I promise that I will find a way to make it up to you. You will be a member of the Williams family again. Don't you want to be the man who you used to be?" Remembering his wife's desire for him to be his old self, Kevin nodded and texted back, "I'll meet you tomorrow. And Grandpa, we have a lot to discuss." Ever since my grandpa kicked me out of the Williams family estate, I shut down. I had to numb myself in order to deal with the pain of losing everything. And sadly, I know that it's hurt my marriage with Lily and my career. But now that my investment with Orion has paid off, the tables have turned, and I'm ready to be the man who I used to be. First things first, though, I need to find out just how rich I really am. Kevin hurriedly pulled out his wallet and found his black card. It had been over 2 years since he had last touched his black card. To this day, his wife Lily still didn't even know that it existed, just like she didn't know a lot of other things about his past. "I've got this," Kevin said as he turned the black card around and dialed the VIP number on the back. A sweet, supportive voice answered. "Hello, Mr. Williams. Welcome to the Black Card Private VIP Customer Service. May I ask if you need any help?" "Hello. I'd like to check the balance of my account." Kevin seemed very excited. His voice could not help but be a little louder than usual. "Of course. Just one moment, please." The customer service was quiet for a while. Then Kevin heard the soft voice again. "Hello, Mr. Williams? Are you still there?" "I am. Would you, please be able to check my bank balance?" "Mr. Williams, I apologize, but the balance on your black card is unfortunately too big for me to handle over the phone. It appears that the digits are higher than our computer is able to process. In order to get your exact account balance, we would need you to come in person and meet with someone from our VIP office. Would that work for you?" Kevin coughed. "I'm sorry, did you say that my balance has more numbers than your computer can handle?" "Yes, I didn't know that that was even possible. I've worked this job for over 10 years, and this is the first time that I've ever had this happen." "Mr. Williams, I think it's safe to say that you are the richest man in Chicago." After hanging up the phone, Kevin excitedly mouthed, "Yes." Just then, he heard Rachel cackle from the other side of the door. "Lily, did you hear that? Your husband just called to check the bank balance. So pathetic." Rolling his eyes, Kevin opened the door and ran up to Lily. "I didn't mean to eavesdrop earlier, but I heard you mention that your company urgently needs $4 million or else it will go bankrupt. I can help you solve this problem." Rachel burst into laughter. "You help Lily solve a problem? Ha! Kevin, I think you're crazy. She needs $4 million, not 4 million IOUs. You have been living off your wife for the last 2 years. Don't pretend like you're some big hero now, when in reality you're just offering her empty promises. We all know that there is no way that you would ever be able to give her $4 million. "Oh, so you don't believe me?" Kevin snapped back. After a long pause, Kevin turned to Rachel and smiled. "Remember this moment, because it's going to feel really good for me to tell you, I told you so." Lily shook her head. I don't appreciate you both laughing at the fact that my company is about to go under. This isn't some competition between the two of you. These are people's lives that you're joking about. And it's my responsibility to save them. So Kevin, as much as I would love for you to pay the $4 million, we both know that's impossible since you haven't been able to hold down a permanent job since we got married. And Rachel, I love you, but you're not being helpful right now. I should go to bed. It's going to be a long, painful day tomorrow. I need to get some rest. Without saying goodbye, Lily held back her exhausted tears as she went to the bedroom at the back of the house. Kevin pursed his lips and replied, "Okay." Then he really shut up and walked away. That night, Kevin could tell that Lily wanted to be alone, so he slept on the couch hoping to give her space. As he lay on the couch, he couldn't stop thinking about the conversation that he had with his bank. Am I really the richest person in Chicago? If that's true, then I can finally be the man that I was when I first met Lily. She has taken care of me these past few years, and now it's my turn to take care of her. Things are going to be different from this moment forward. I'm going to build her an empire. The following morning, Kevin woke up to the sound of his mother-in-law, Dorothy, scoffing. "Of course you fell asleep on the couch. You were probably playing video games all night instead of finishing your chores. I don't know what my daughter sees in you." Kevin quickly got off the couch. "No, that's not what happened. I actually slept out here because Lily—" Dorothy interrupted. "Speaking of Lily, she should be on her way to work now. I'll go check on her." "Great. And can you tell her that I need her car to run some errands? So why don't you make yourself useful for once and drive your wife to work?" Biting his tongue, Kevin nodded. "But I don't have a car. I only have my old motorbike." "It'll have to do. What are you waiting for? Go get your wife." Kevin paused. "Of course. I'll go get her now." Walking down the hallway, Kevin knocked on his bedroom door. "Lily, you up?" Lily answered. "Yes, I'm running late though. I don't have time to talk. I need to head to work." "That's what I wanted to tell you. Your mom is taking your car, so I'm going to drive you to the office." Lily opened the door, and Kevin felt his mouth literally drop when he saw her. Standing in a feminine take on a classic pinstripe business suit, Lily looked absolutely stunning. "You look beautiful," Kevin gasped. Lily tucked her hair behind her ear. "Thank you, but can we continue this conversation in the car? I'm in a hurry." "Of course, let's go," Kevin replied. Kevin helped lift Lily onto the back of his motorbike. Lily wrapped her arms around Kevin's waist as he thought to himself, "I love this feeling. From this moment forward, I'm going to start steering our relationship. I'm going to be the man who Lily wants me to be, the man that she deserves." Stopping at a red light, Kevin turned around to find Lily biting her bottom lip. With a gentle sigh, Kevin asked, "How are you feeling? You look great, but I know you, and you only bite your bottom lip when you're stressed." Lily nodded. "You could say that I'm a little stressed. I checked the report this morning and it confirmed my worst nightmare. The company isn't going to get any external investor support, which means that by the end of the week, we're going to officially declare bankruptcy. This morning, the major shareholders are holding a shareholders meeting. As the company's chairman, I have to be there. And to be honest, I just feel so terrible about all of the employees that are going to lose their jobs. It's all my fault." "You weren't the one who made the mistake which caused this," Kevin replied. "Yes, but I'm the chairman, and as a boss, it is my job to hold myself accountable for everything that happens with the company." Lily stopped herself. The light turned green. "Would you mind gunning it? I'm already so late." Kevin nodded and sped forward. Minutes later, they arrived at the company's entrance at a record time. Lily smiled as she let go of Kevin's waist. "I can't believe how fast you got me here. Maybe I should have let you drive me to work months ago." Just as Kevin was about to respond, he was interrupted by the sound of a car parking next to them. Turning to their right, both Kevin and Lily saw a brand new BMW i8 pull up beside Kevin's old motorbike. The door opened and a tall man in a tailored suit stepped out of the car. "Hi, Bradley," Lily politely smiled. Ignoring Kevin's presence, Bradley stepped forward and hugged Lily. "Good morning, Lil," It's so good to see you." Bradley Smith then turned to Kevin and laughed. "Lily, did you order the world's crappiest Uber or what? If you needed a ride, I could have driven you. That motorbike is pathetic. No offense." Kevin forced a smile. "I'm not her Uber driver. I'm actually her husband." Seeing Bradley's shocked face, Kevin smirked as he reached his hand forward. "I'm Kevin. It's nice to meet you." Reaching his manicured hand towards Kevin's, Bradley replied, "So this is the famous Kevin. I've heard so much about you. You know Rachel, Lily's best friend. Well, she does the best impression of you. It's so nice to put a face to your, name. And Kev, you are exactly what I expected." Lily uncomfortably shook her head. "Bradley, that's out of line." "Of course. I was just messing with him. You can take a joke, can't you, Kevin?" Kevin nodded. "I can when they're funny." Bradley smirked. "Touché. Lily, I'm so glad that I bumped into you this morning. I've heard about everything going on and my heart aches for you. So I brought you a little pick-me-up." Bradley went back to his car, opened the trunk, and took out a stunning rectangular gift box. With a snake-like smile, Bradley handed the box to Lily. "Take a look. Do you like it?" Lily opened the box and gasped. "Oh, my goodness. This is the most beautiful necklace that I've ever seen. Bradley, you shouldn't have. This is much too extravagant of a gift." Bradley smiled. "I knew you would like it." Feeling his chest tighten, Kevin thought to himself, "I am going to help save Lily's company, but first things first, I need to handle Bradley. He's up to no good, and it's my job to stop him." "A beautiful woman deserves a beautiful necklace. Ain't that right, Kevin?" Bradley smirked. Kevin leaned forward and pursed his lips as he saw the necklace that Bradley had gifted his wife, Lily. The entire necklace was inlaid with countless dazzling crystals. Kevin couldn't take his eyes off the big diamond core pendant that weighed at least 3 carats in the center of it. "The Dream Lover necklace," Kevin whispered to himself. "What was that?" Bradley asked. "That's impossible. There's no way that that's real. The Dream Lover necklace was made by the famous French jewelry designer Diane. It was made up of 180 crystals in a 3-carat diamond. There are only 10 versions of the necklace in the world. That has to be a knockoff." "It's not a knockoff. It's a top-of-the-line copy of one. Lily, I remember how much you loved the Dream Lover's necklace, and since it's impossible to buy a real one, I spent $100,000 to have a jeweler create a copy of it for you. And if you give me some more time, I will one day find the real Dream Lover for you." Lily closed the gift box and said with a somewhat regretful expression, "It's normal that you can't buy it. After all, there are only 10 real Dream Lovers in the world. 2 years ago, I heard that in an auction, a Dream Lover was sold at a high price of $2.8 million. So you don't have to worry about finding me the real one. Plus, this is a really good copy. I love it. Thank you." When he heard Lily's words, Bradley's heart stopped as he thought to himself, $2.8 million? My entire net worth was only around $3 million. There is no way that I'll ever be able to buy it for her. With an awkward smile, Bradley replied, "Sounds like this Dream Lover is very popular." Kevin reached forward. "Here, Lily, why don't you let me bring the necklace home for you? After all, I'm your husband. It's the least I can do." "Thank you, Kevin. That would be really helpful." Kevin reached for the necklace, but as soon as his hand grasped it, he felt it accidentally slip through his fingers onto the ground. With a fake shocked look on his face, Bradley gasped, "Kevin, how could you? You threw it on the ground on purpose. That necklace was for Lily. Why would you do that to her?" At that moment, Kevin turned around to see several of Lily's co-workers crowding around them. One woman whispered to the other, "I know. I don't know why she married him. She could do so much better." Lily took a deep breath. "I'm sure that it was an accident, wasn't it, Kevin?" Feeling his face turn red in anger, Kevin snapped, "I'm sorry that it happened. Lily, you deserve the real thing, not just some fake copy of it from a douche like Bradley." Seeing the employees gossiping to one another, Lily stepped forward and whispered into Kevin's ear, Kevin, please apologize to Bradley. We're at my job, and I have a lot going on today. Even if it was an accident, you need to apologize to Bradley because this is my work. It's important to me. I can't have drama like this happen, especially not this week. Kevin slowly nodded and turned to Bradley. I'm sorry that I dropped the necklace that you got from my wife. Thank you, Lily mouthed to Kevin. Turning to both Kevin and Bradley, Lily continued. I'm already running so late. I have to go. But thank you both. I'll talk to you soon. After Lily got into the elevator, Kevin bent down, picked the necklace up, and tossed it to Bradley. In shock, Bradley reached for the necklace but missed. This time when it fell, a fake diamond popped out onto the ground. Kevin turned around and began walking towards his motorbike as he heard Bradley's angry roar from behind him. Stop! I know you can hear me. I command you to stop! Bradley screamed as he chased Kevin. Bradley continued. This necklace is worth more money than you could ever imagine, and you broke it. How do you expect to fix the damage? Poor Lily, you just won't let her have anything nice, will you? Kevin turned around and looked at Bradley with an expressionless face. 1. Lily is my wife. You'd better stay away from her. Kevin calmly climbed onto his motorbike and continued. 2. It's my job to give gifts to my wife. So tonight, I'll give her the real dream lover. She deserves more than a knockoff, and she deserves it from her husband, not you. After a pause, Kevin looked at Bradley and smirked. 3rd, move. You're blocking the exit. Bradley furiously watched Kevin drive away as he yelled, Nice try, idiot. You can't even afford a car. How do you expect to buy the dream lover? You're such a loser. Bradley bent over and picked a rock off the ground. He threw it with all of his might and hit the back of Kevin's motorbike. Bradley gave himself a self-satisfied smile as Kevin drove away, unaware that his light was smashed. A couple of Lily's co-workers took out their cell phones and snuck photos of Kevin's broken motorbike as he drove away. On the top floor of the skyrise, Lily sat behind her desk. Her eyes were filled with anger as she looked out the window and thought to herself, Kevin knew how important today is for me, and yet he still picked a fight with Bradley. I know that Bradley was out of line, but that's just who Bradley is. Besides, Bradley is the best shot that I have to finding an investor. I can't risk upsetting him now. The company depends on it. And now that Kevin offended him, how am I going to get Bradley to get his boss at the Williams Company to invest $4 million into my company to save it? Seeing Kevin's name on her phone, Lily bit her bottom lip and answered, I can't talk right now. Lily, I'm sorry about earlier. I know how stressed you are, and I shouldn't have taken Bradley's bait. It's just that guy gets under my skin. Lily shook her head. That guy is the best chance that I have for saving my company. He directly reports to the Williams family, and I don't know if you know who they are, but they are the richest family in Chicago. They could save my company. Kevin laughed to himself. It still amazes me how after all of these years, Lily still hasn't connected the fact that my last name is the same last name as the Williams Company. She must think that it's just a coincidence. Well, she is right about one thing. Even though the Williams family is secretly bankrupt, there is a Williams family member who is now officially the richest man in Chicago, and I'm going to save her company. I can't tell her the truth just yet, though. I mean, I've lied to her for too long about my true family. I need to pick the right moment to be honest with her, or else I could risk losing her forever. I promise that things are going to be okay. Now I'll let you go because I know you're busy, but I just wanted to say that I love you, Lily. Lily felt her eyes well with tears. I know you do. Hanging up, Kevin declared to himself, I'm going to make Lily love me again. It's not her fault, it's mine. I let myself disappear after the money went away. But I'm going to make things better. I'm finally feeling like myself again, and that means I can finally be the man that Lily deserves. Taking a deep breath, Kevin looked at his phone and pressed the name of the person who had exiled him and left him with nothing only 2 years ago. I knew you would call. An old, rough voice answered. Hello, Grandpa. Let's not waste any time with fake formalities. I'm calling to let you know that I can help solve the crisis of Williams' family with my money. But in exchange for that, I have two conditions. One, before 6 o'clock tonight, you will give me a Dream Lover necklace. Second, at the downtown family branch, there is a person named Bradley. I want him removed from the building immediately. Still sitting on his motorbike, Kevin hung up the phone with his grandpa and thought to himself, the tables have turned. Now I finally have all the power. This is going to be fun. Just then, Kevin received a text message from his wife, Lily. Kevin took a deep breath and read, I'm sorry about our call earlier. I wish that things could feel like they used to between us. But I wanted to remind you about my family gathering tonight. Could you please pick up something new to wear? You know how judgmental my family can be. It would mean a lot if you made a good impression since I already have so much pressure from them about my job. Thank you. X's and O's. Kevin smiled as he typed back. Of course. Anything for you. I promise to make you and your family proud tonight. I love you. Taking off his helmet, Kevin got off his motorbike and looked straight ahead at the luxury neighborhood in front of him. What Lily didn't know was that Kevin had just arrived at the Golden Domain, also known as the most luxurious neighborhood in Chicago. Minutes later, Kevin was sitting on a familiar couch in his grandfather's foyer. Standing on the opposite side of the room, Kevin's Uncle Thomas took a deep breath. Your grandfather couldn't be here, so he sent me in his place. Kevin stayed sitting on the couch as his father's brother stepped forward and gave him an awkward hug. It's good to see you, nephew. You look very different than you did the last time we spoke. If anything, I would say that you look like you've been enjoying your freedom. This sabbatical has done wonders for you, Uncle Thomas continued. Kevin rolled his eyes. Are we calling me being kicked out of the family a sabbatical now? Kevin, I want you to know that I never meant for that to happen. It was just an unfortunate... Kevin interrupted. I'm not here to argue about the past, so let's just get straight to the point. How much money does the Williams family need? Always used to being in charge, Uncle Thomas pursed his lips and answered. Actually, it's not a lot of money. Kevin raised his eyebrows. How much is not a lot of money? $8 billion. Kevin laughed. $8 billion isn't a lot of money? You kicked me out of the family for investing a lot less than that. Uncle Thomas paused. Well, we were wrong. It turns out that your bad investment is the only thing that can save our family dynasty. So what do you say? Can we borrow $8 billion? Kevin stood up and replied. Uncle, I suddenly remembered that I have something very important to do. Don't worry, I'll see myself out. Uncle Thomas quickly stopped him. If you don't give us the $8 billion, the Williams family legacy will be destroyed. Kevin, please, I'm begging you. You're the only person who can save the family empire. I have already asked my men to complete the 2 requests that you mentioned. Please, you can't leave now. I'll do anything. Kevin calmly replied to the man who he had once feared. Uncle, it's not that I don't want to help the Williams family get through this crisis, but if I'm being honest, I don't think that I have $8 billion to give you. Kevin, are you seriously going to play dumb? Have you not checked the value of your stocks? Your grandfather and I know that the 20% of the shares you invested in the Orion Group is worth at least $9.3 billion now, and the value is going up as we speak. Uncle Thomas paused for a moment, then softened his tone. Kevin, you must have a conscience. You can't forget that you are also a member of the Williams family. This is your legacy that I'm trying to protect. Kevin felt his heart race as he thought to himself, I have over $9 billion. Just this morning I had less than $50 in my savings. This is a dream come true. I can finally build my own empire. After a long silence, Kevin coolly replied, Uncle, you didn't seem to care about my legacy when you kicked me out of the family 2 years ago. Why should I care about it now? Uncle Thomas was speechless as Kevin continued, I have a wife now. Did you know that? I had gotten engaged the day that you decided to exile me. I'm a son-in-law to another family. Why should I show loyalty to you over them? Taking a deep breath, Kevin clenched his fist tightly and finished. If it wasn't for the fact that you were all going bankrupt, I don't think you would have ever reached out to me again. You left me for dead. Now why should I bring you back to life? Uncle Thomas was silent for a few seconds, then he said in a deep voice, "Kevin, I know what we did was wrong. I apologize to you on behalf of the family. We messed up. There's no way that I can sugarcoat this. But I am begging you, your family needs you. The Williams dynasty will fall without your help." He paused for a moment as if he was making some kind of important decision. Finally, he looked at Kevin with a firm gaze. "Kevin, if you are willing to help the Williams family, I can let you become the president of the Williams Media. All that it would take is one day for me to finalize the formalities. Tomorrow you would be able to take over the position. You would have your own company." Kevin smirked. "Isn't Williams Media your wife's company? You're always so quick to give away other people's things to benefit yourself, aren't you?" "She would gladly offer it to you to save the family. Williams Media is one of our most profitable and high-profile companies. It's the largest and most successful entertainment company in America. Just think of all the celebs that we've signed. It would all be yours." Gritting his teeth, Kevin nodded and said, "I accept your conditions. Williams Media will be my first acquisition in my journey to create my own family empire. But I wasn't lying before. I do have to go. I've got somewhere very important to be." Uncle Thomas paused. "So do we have a—" Kevin interrupted. "Yes, we have a deal." "Thank you. I wasn't sure if you would help us after everything that we did to you. I can't express how much this means to the family." Kevin smiled. "We're family, and I hope that this is a lesson for all of us to remember that family is more important than money." "I may be 2 years too late, but I have learned that. Thank you, Kevin." Leaving his family's mansion, Kevin looked at his watch. "Oh no, I'm going to be late for my high school reunion." Hopping on his motorbike, Kevin began driving as he thought to himself, "This will be the first time that I've seen everyone since we graduated. It's been years. I'm excited to go to the reunion and show them the man that I've become." Driving back home to change, Kevin smiled. "My luck is changing. I can feel it. By the end of today, I will have earned my family's respect, my old classmates' envy, my in-laws' approval, and most importantly, my wife's love." On the other side of town, Lily walked down the hallway at her office and heard her coworkers giggling. Entering the break room, Lily saw a few of her coworkers staring at their phones and cackling. Through the gap between them, Lily saw the video that they were watching. It was Kevin driving away on his old motorbike with the shattered light in the back. One of Lily's coworkers smirked. "That's so embarrassing. How is our chairwoman married to a man who rides a broken-down motorbike? It looks like something you would find in the dump." "I know. He's such a loser. It's a miracle that they haven't divorced yet." A catty girl took a sip of water and interrupted. "You'll never guess what I heard him say earlier. He swore that he was going to buy the Dream Lover necklace for the chairman." "He wants to buy the Dream Lover? I'm going to die of laughter. We've seen what he drives. How in the world would he ever be able to afford something as rare and luxurious as the Dream Lover necklace? He isn't just broke, he's delusional." "That's too funny. He's such an idiot." The co-workers all burst into laughter until one of them turned, saw Lily, and gasped. "Chairman, so sorry. We didn't know you were here." Lily paused and calmly replied, "It seems like there are a lot of things that you don't know. Maybe you should be more careful the next time you call someone an idiot." "Chairman, I'm sorry. We will return to our desks immediately," Lily's coworker apologized. Feeling overwhelmed, Lily quickly returned to her office and closed the door. Sitting down at her desk, Lily started sobbing as she thought to herself, "I know that Kevin isn't an idiot. I just wish that he would remember that. Then maybe he and I could give our relationship another go. I haven't given up on him. Yet." When Kevin returned home, he opened the door and found his mother-in-law, Dorothy, sitting in the living room watching TV. When she heard him enter, she opened her mouth and called him, "Kevin, come here. I need to ask you something." Kevin nodded and quickly sat on the sofa next to Dorothy. "Kevin, you and Lily have been married for over 2 years now and still no grandchildren. Does your family have any genetic history or issues with fertility?" No. My parents are very healthy, and I've never heard of any genetic diseases in our family," Kevin nervously replied. Dorothy raised the corner of her eyes and crossed her arms to look at Kevin. Really? You know, it's weird that I don't know that much about your parents. Maybe we should schedule a doctor's appointment for you and your parents to get tested. That way we can see if there are any bad genes on your side. There's no need. I have always been in good health. I don't want to waste any money, Kevin awkwardly responded. Why are you being so defensive? All that I'm asking is for your parents to get a checkup. Honestly, Kevin, it's for their own good. I won't take no for an answer. Now I have to go run an errand, but I'll see you tonight at the family get-together. After his mother-in-law left the room, Kevin shook his head and checked his watch. I need to change ASAP. I'll deal with my mother-in-law's issue later. I have a class reunion to attend. After changing his clothes, Kevin hopped on his motorbike and rode to the fanciest hotel in Chicago, the Rose Hotel. After parking his motorbike outside the lobby, Kevin quickly fixed his windswept hair and stepped down onto the pavement.
Kevin, is that you?
A handsome man called out from a parked Mercedes-Benz S32. The man stuck his head out of his car window and flashed $1 million smile at Kevin. The moment Kevin saw him, his eyes were filled with surprise. Tucker, look at you. You haven't aged a day. Something tells me you're still just as popular as you always were. Tucker grinned back. Let's just say I'm a lucky guy. Glad to hear. That's a nice car you've got there. Tucker looked at Kevin's motorbike.
And you're still as eccentric as ever. Did you really ride that here?
Yes, it was one of the first things that I bought with my own money. Earning something feels different than being handed it. Tucker paused and shrugged his shoulders.
Cool story, bro. What do you say? Should we head in and see who's aged beautifully and who's aged poorly?
As soon as Kevin and Tucker entered the ballroom, everyone turned to greet them.
Tucker, it's so good to see you,
a familiar man yelled. Tucker waved back.
And look who I brought with me. Little Kevin is all grown up.
The man waved to Kevin and then whispered to another student. Kevin was always a bit of an outsider back in high school, but now he's hanging out with someone as cool as Tucker. Maybe there's more to Kevin than meets the eye.
I think you're right,
the former classmate replied. Looking around the room, Kevin thought to himself, wow, I'm the most underdressed person here. I like being underestimated. With a big smile, Kevin turned to his right. Hey, Tucker, I'm going to go grab a seat. Let's catch up more later.
Sure thing, dude,
Tucker replied. Sitting at an empty table, Kevin was happy to have a little space. It had been a while since he had seen everyone, and it was nice to be able to sit back and take everything in. Kevin gasped when he saw his former classmate, Brittany, enter the room. Wow, she looks stunning. I'm not surprised, though. Brittany was the most popular girl in high school. I figured she would have left Chicago by now. Just as Kevin lifted his hand to wave at Brittany, Tucker quickly jumped in front of him and yelled,
Hey, Brit, did you forget about me?
Brittany walked over with an all-knowing smile on her face. Tucker, you haven't changed one bit. Tucker laughed.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Brittany tilted her head to the side and laughed. We did date on and off throughout high school, so it can't be too bad.
You're right, Brit. We had some good times back in the day. But look at you now. You look amazing. What are you up to?
Brittany bit her bottom lip. Well, I know it's a bit cliche, but I'm about to sign with an agency.
No shit. You're really doing it.
Brittany's cheeks turned red. Well, I'm trying to. I haven't signed anything yet, but it's looking good.
You were always meant for bigger things, Brit. To think, I'll be able to say I knew her when.
Tucker grinned. Suddenly, a group of girls sat down at the table with Kevin. One of the girls turned to the other and whispered, I heard that Brittany is about to become a superstar. She's too sweet to ever brag about it, but Brittany is going to sign with Williams Media next week. Another girl replied, No way. Williams Media is the biggest media company in America. If Brittany signs with them, then she'll be famous before we know it. A small mousy girl popped up from her seat. I'm going to ask Brittany for an autograph. The two other girls nodded. Good idea. It might be worth something one day. Hey, Brittany, can we get your autograph? The three girls harmonized as they stepped in between Brittany and Tucker. Seeing Brittany handle them with grace and humility, Kevin smiled to himself. Good for Brittany. I'm so glad that she's still pursuing her dream. And if she is really signing with Williams Media, then I should get to know her a little better. After all, as of tomorrow, I will be the official owner of Williams Media. This will be a good chance for me to familiarize myself with my clients. Just then, Brittany and Tucker came and sat down at the table with Kevin. Turning to his right, Kevin gasped to himself. Just my luck. Brittany sat down right next to me. Something tells me I'm going to love running Williams Media. I'll finally have a chance to create my own empire. Looking into Brittany's beautiful almond-shaped eyes, Kevin smiled to himself. But first things first, I need to go talk to my newest client. Kevin felt a little excited at the idea of running Williams Media and talking with Brittany, who would be his newest client. However, just as his butt touched the chair, Brittany looked at him indifferently. Sorry, I'm saving this seat for Jessica. Huh? I thought Jessica was sitting over there. Kevin pointed at a voluptuous woman who was at least 7 or 8 seats away from them. His face was filled with confusion. Brittany frowned and looked very unhappy. She raised her hand to cover her nose and said in a muffled voice, You seem to have a strange smell. I feel uncomfortable, so can I trouble you to change seats? Kevin was stunned. He raised his arm to sniff. It didn't smell. He had just changed into clean clothes before he went out. This woman must have a problem with her nose. Kevin, you haven't taken a shower for a few days, have you? Commented one of the guys. A female classmate sitting next to him quickly said, Come on now, I'll change seats with you, Kevin. Don't make Beauty Brit so sick that she can't eat. Kevin wanted to argue, but at that moment his old friend Zach walked over and urged Kevin to get up. They found a corner and sat down together. Zach explained, Look, Kevin, Brittany is not a woman we can get close to. You are asking for trouble. Come on, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's have a drink. Kevin looked at Brittany, who was talking and laughing with Tucker. He shook his head and sneered. He picked up the glass and clinked it with Zach. The two of them drank as if there was no one else around. Zach might be the only one among the group of old classmates who treated him sincerely. When Zach was bullied in school, Kevin had helped him with his fights in the past. As the drinks began to flow, the guests suggested that they should all play music, dance together, and play a game or something. Most people remembered that Brittany had been a fabulous dancer since primary school, so they started to cheer her on and let the future big star put on a show for everyone. Buzzed off the drinks, Brittany's beautiful face was flushed, which added to the already intoxicating atmosphere of the reunion. Unable to resist the unanimous request of her classmates, Brittany got up and walked to the middle of the private ballroom, dancing slowly along with the music. Her bright, misty eyes swept across everyone who was there. Her slender waist moved quickly, then more slowly, her entire body dancing like softly flowing water. It was particularly charming. All the male students were entranced, and some had already unconsciously gasped in wonder. Stunning! She was too beautiful. Brittany was even more attractive than she had been back in school. The gathering finally ended as evening fell. Because the class president and the head teacher were busy today and were unable to attend, everyone got together and arranged to meet again in the future. When Brittany was about to leave, several male classmates rushed to say goodbye and offered rides in their fancy cars. In the end, Brittany said that she already had a car, and the driver was already waiting outside. So everyone watched Brittany get into the latest Maserati and speed away. The guys who were still fighting over the chance to see Brittany off were all left with embarrassed expressions on their faces. Zach saw the Maserati turn around and could not help but whisper in Kevin's ear, Brittany is so beautiful. I would give up 5 years of my life just to sleep with her once. Kevin smiled helplessly. Just as he was about to say something, the phone in his pocket suddenly rang. Fly me to the moon. Everyone within earshot immediately looked at Kevin. What year was this? Why did he still use such an old-fashioned song as a ringtone? Kevin took out his phone. When he saw that the caller was his wife, he smiled and answered the call.
Lily asked him, Did you buy the clothes I asked you to get for the meeting? After you take care of that, we'll meet at home.
Her tone was very cold. After she'd finished speaking, she hung up the phone. Only then did Kevin remember that he had not bought the clothes yet. He quickly exchanged contact information with Zach and then rode away on his little electric scooter in a hurry. The women who saw this snickered. Oh my God, Kevin actually rode a tiny electric bike to attend the get-together. Do you think he'll run out of juice before he gets there? They burst into laughter. Even though Kevin was already pretty far away, he could still hear them clearly. On the other side of town, Lily was about to leave the office when a man in a black suit suddenly appeared in front of her with a gift box in his arms. "You are?" Lily said as she looked at the unfamiliar man in front of her with a puzzled expression. The man in the suit handed the box to Lily and said very politely, "This is a gift for you from our boss." At this time, two of Lily's assistants walked over and looked curiously at the man and the gift box in his hands. "Wow, Madam Chairman, a gift from an admirer." Lily glared at them and pretended to be angry. "Don't talk nonsense. I don't have any suitors." Lily turned to look at the man in the suit and hesitated for a moment before taking the box. "Who is your boss?" The man replied, "Sorry, the boss said that he hopes you can guess his identity. The gift is for you personally. I hope that you have a good time tonight." After saying that, he turned around and left. Lily looked at the gift box in her hand and finally decided to open it to see what it was. When she opened it, she was instantly stunned. The two assistants beside her could not help but let out a scream. "Oh my God, this is the Dream Lover." The rare necklace sparkled in the light. "Oh my God, there are only 10 Dream Lovers in the world. Madam Chairman, your admirer is so generous." Lily could tell at a glance that this was an authentic Dream Lover. Because she had such a strong interest in the Dream Lover bordering on an obsession, she had researched everything related to it in detail. The one she was holding in her hands was definitely genuine. Lily looked at the Dream Lover that was lying in the gift box and felt that it was surreal. Was she dreaming? Who exactly gave it to her? Could it be Bradley Smith? But even to Bradley Smith, the Dream Lover was still out of reach. Could it be that he really liked her so much that he'd spent all his savings to buy the Dream Lover for her? Thinking of this, Lily couldn't help but feel very moved in her heart. If she wore the Dream Lover to tonight's family get-together, she would definitely become the envy of all the women in the family. Lily felt her heart skip with even more excitement. At the same moment, Kevin was trying to figure out what to do about his clothes. He went to the mall and walked around. Most of the suits were in his style. Maybe it was because they were all off the rack and not tailored. He felt that none of the suits fit him very well. Finally, his solution was to call the personal secretary that Uncle Thomas had arranged for him that afternoon. She was very efficient. In less than half an hour, she sent someone to make a simple handmade tailor-made suit and had it sent to Kevin. He carried his clothes under his arm as he rode the electric scooter back to the Joneses' family neighborhood. As soon as he entered the house, he saw his wife Lily standing in front of the mirror in the living room, admiring the Dream Lover on her neck. It seemed like his wife was very satisfied with the gift he had given her. She quickly put it on the moment she received it. With the Dream Lover on her graceful swan-like neck, she became even more noble and elegant. Upon seeing Kevin as she walked back from the mirror, Lily instantly hid her exhilarated expression. She looked away to check her clothes and did not look back. She completely ignored that Kevin even existed. Dorothy, who was on the sofa, frowned as she looked at the dark black bag in Kevin's hand. She urged, "Are those the clothes you bought? Hurry up and change. We'll leave in 5 minutes." "Okay, I'll get dressed right away," Kevin responded and quickly went into the other room. He changed his clothes as fast as he could, combed his hair, and then walked out. Dorothy looked at Kevin, who was wearing a dark gray suit, and her face showed a rare look of satisfaction. She nodded and said, "This suit isn't bad. You're finally dressed like a man who has some class." "Hurry up. I don't want to be late again," Lily said as she sized Kevin up. The unhappiness in her eyes also melted away a little. She slipped her feet into her high heels and walked out first. With Kevin driving, the three of them soon arrived at the Jones family's mansion. By now, there were dozens of cars parked outside the mansion. At a glance, they were all makes and models of high-end cars. It was like a luxury car show. Dorothy was wearing a long peacock green dress with an apricot-colored cape. She looked very sexy and elegant as she walked. Her clear, smooth face looked radiant as she walked with her daughter Lily. You couldn't tell at all that they were mother and daughter. Instead, they looked more like sisters. So when the two of them walked into the Jones family's hall, they instantly attracted everyone's attention. Many relatives and friends who knew Dorothy and her daughter stepped up to greet the two of them. Kevin, who was following behind them, was ignored by most people as usual. However, there were some people who liked to pay more attention to Kevin. For example, there was Jason. If he didn't cause trouble for Kevin every time he saw him, it wouldn't be normal. Jason mocked him. "Hey, isn't this Kevin? It's rare to see him dressed like a human. I almost didn't recognize you." Jason walked to Kevin's side and patted him on the shoulder. His voice was so loud that almost everyone in the hall could hear him. Kevin looked at him with a smile and didn't say anything. Jason snorted in disdain. "You got these clothes on sale, right? I remember I saw the exact clothing down at the mall. Was it $75 or $100? Quality stuff, right?" Hearing this, many people looked at Kevin with scorn. Some even laughed out loud. Lily looked at Kevin with an embarrassed expression on her face. She was definitely angry. To think that she had given him $1,000 to buy himself some decent clothes. He, on the other hand, he actually went and bought a cheap suit for $100. Why did he always make things so difficult for her? Kevin adjusted his collar and responded casually. "I'm really disappointed to hear that. Actually, I didn't pay for my clothes." Jason laughed. "You didn't pay for it? Could it be that the owner of the store saw that you were too pathetic and out of pity gave you a new suit?" The people around them started laughing as well. They looked at Kevin like he was a fool. Lily and Dorothy's faces showed their embarrassment. Dorothy coldly snorted and began to walk away. She didn't want to stand anywhere near Kevin, her stupid son-in-law, for another second. "We should go sit down," Lily disappointingly whispered to Kevin. She really didn't want to bring Kevin along to these events. However, unless someone was out of town or dealing with some special circumstances, all the family members had to attend. "Lily, I'm really not talking about you. It's fine if your husband lacks experience and is stingy. Aren't you willing to spend a little money on yourself? The dress you're wearing must have cost around $500, didn't it? It's shameful that you have the nerve to wear it to our family get-together." Jason looked Lily up and down. The smile on his face made her feel very annoyed. Seeing that everyone was paying attention to them, Jason straightened up and patted the suit he was wearing. There was arrogance in his expression. "In order to attend the family gathering, I went to the most famous designer in the country and spent $20,000 to have this suit made especially for me." Wow, $20,000? Everyone thought. Almost everyone in the room was shocked. After all, even though their finances were pretty solid, spending $20,000 for a suit was really too extravagant. Feeling the envious gazes from the people around him, Jason was extremely proud of himself. The way he looked at Lily showed even more disdain. Lily's face turned red. She was both angry and embarrassed. Jason had deliberately made her embarrassed in front of all these people. He really just wanted to see her make a fool of herself. But there was nothing Lily could do. When she glanced over at Kevin, who still had a smile on his face, she felt even more choked up. Kevin noticed Lily's eyes and turned his head to smile at her. After a moment, she quickly turned her head away. Kevin raised his eyebrows and looked at Jason, who had a smug look on his face. Kevin imitated Jason by patting him back on his shoulder. "What are you doing? Who asked you to touch me?" Jason almost jumped, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He angrily slapped Kevin's hand away and quickly brushed off his shoulder. It was as if he was afraid that his clothes would be contaminated with some kind of bacteria by Kevin's touch. Kevin didn't care at all as he put his hand into his pocket and returned Jason's disgusted gaze. He sneered and said, "It's only a $20,000 suit. I was afraid that it would soil my hands. My Lily likes to dress casually. However, she really prefers fine jewelry." After saying this, Kevin pulled a stunned Lily to his side.
Download the Pocket FM app and start listening to the dramatic audio series Insta Empire for free only on Pocket FM.